What are your thoughts about what's coming up at in 6 hours from now? Theoretically, the starting line. I mean, he hasn't announced any speeches, as I understand. Floofy Unicorn in the chat, who, by the way, amazing name, but also a consistent watcher. I see you every time, Floofy Unicorn. You're the best. But Floofy Unicorn says they bombed Carg Island. Is this, if anybody's watching news, post links. So what is your take? Let's game this out a little bit. What happens at 8? Best case, worst case.
Best case, Trump does his famous taco routine and chickens out because he sees the markets, the futures, and they go to absolute crap. Oil prices start to surge, etc. So he backs off, and then he creates some imaginary negotiation in the 11th hour to make it look like he's a hero. I mean, according to this past week's press conference weekend, he's the one that got Osama bin Laden. Wasn't aware of that. Didn't know. Okay. I mean, so he's going to do something where he looks like he still is the magnanimous one in control. But in reality, the markets are telling you, you are about to fumble the bag, as the kids say. Right. So that's best case scenario. Right. Worst case scenario, he follows through and targets all of that infrastructure that he is talking about. It's like the man never heard of Sun Tzu. You've given your enemy no way out. So now they will fight with the ferocity and the desperate attempts that we have not seen before from a Middle East country. Because unlike Afghanistan, unlike every, evolution into the Middle East that the West has done, none of them have been armed like this. None of them have had the cutting edge technology that the rest of the world was not prepared for like this. And so when you factor all of that in, right, you're unprepared, you underestimated, and you're ill-equipped to deal with the fallout. So when you do this and remove the little civility left by trying to plunge them into the dark ages, good luck. Good luck. Because now you're going to have to put boots on the ground. You know why? Because they are going to bomb the ever-loving hell out of every oil infrastructure, every desalination infrastructure. They will make the Middle East howl. It reminds me, tactically reminds me of what General Sherman did here in Georgia. I mean, burn it all down logistically and this, that, and the other. And everything collapsed after that. Same thing. And the difference is, though, the rest of the world depends on those Gulf states that they will retaliate against. Those Gulf states who have, money reserves, blah, blah, blah. Those same Gulf states are the ones bankrolling all this stuff in the West, from AI to fund, markets fund, all these things come from their money. And now they will not have the ability to generate funds, and they will try to retain funds for their own survival, and the economy will crater. And that's why I'm talking about the actual human toll. So yeah, if he does that, Saudi Arabia, who had a major oil attack on one of their oil refineries, huge, could affect up to 20% of liquid natural gas. Huge. The Western media is not really talking about it, but over there, they're talking about it. These are the damn things that are going to happen. And no one's going to do anything about it. Specifically, people in the chat are talking about Congress. Well, they got to affect the companies that these clowns have stocks in. And it will, because plastic, for example, the factory that got hit in Saudi Arabia, they produce the particulates for plastic. Everything you use. You don't think that has a ripple effect? 20% of the world. No one thought this crap through. And if they do this, it's the nail in the coffin as far as I'm concerned. There will be a completely new world order if that happens.
Is anyone telling him this?
I don't think, number one, he has the capability to comprehend what they're saying. When you see Alex Jones and company talking about the 25th Amendment, things are far gone.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I watched extreme right MAGA supporter after extreme right MAGA supporter sit there and say the 25th Amendment needs to happen. But here's the thing. Let's say, first of all, people need to understand. Oh, no problem, David. People need to understand what the 25th Amendment is, right? Everybody keeps saying it. The process, though, for the 25th Amendment to actually be implemented. Okay, let's play this out. Let's say J.D. Vance and company are like, okay, this is ridiculous. They get the cabinet together. Over half the cabinet votes to remove the president via the 25th Amendment. Okay. He brings it to Congress is what happens. The president of the United States has 4 days to write a written response. Yep. I mean, this is coming from Marjorie Taylor Greene. 4 days to write a written response to it saying, yes, I accept this, or no, y'all can pack sand, which we all know what Trump will do, right? He would sit there and say, pack sand. Okay. So now it goes back to Congress, and 2/3 of the House and 2/3 of the Senate have to vote him out. That's how the 25th. Everybody just thinks, hey, the cabinet vote. No, this goes to the same Congress that has been limp noodled about what they're seeing.
Oh my God. I mean, I want to play this clip of our really good friend, and then get your response after this.
Confident that we can get a response, whether it's positive or negative. We're going to get a response from the Iranians by 8 o'clock tonight. I hope they make the right response, because what we really want is we want a world where oil and gas is flowing freely, where people can afford to heat their homes and cool their homes, where people can afford to transport themselves to work. That's not going to happen if the Iranians are engaged in acts of economic terrorism. So they've got to know we've got tools in our toolkit that we so far haven't decided to use. The President of the United States can decide to use them, and he will decide to use them if the Iranians don't change their course of conduct.
So there's a couple of things that I want to direct here towards. First of all, suddenly affordability is a big thing for them, right? Which is weird. That's a weird thing. But the second thing is, he seems to be coyly referring to nuclear weapons or, some kind of overwhelming force. I want you to talk about Europe and about the rest of the Western world in particular, and our Western allies and allies all over the globe. What is the impact of using overwhelming force politically and geopolitically?
So a couple of things. Number one, there's this thing called the law of proportionality.
Yes.
So when the international community, The Hague, for example, looks at war crimes and what was targeted, the other thing they calculate is, was the retaliation commensurate with the initial action? Proportionality, right? Which is why, historically speaking, you've seen presidents be presented a menu of options, and they have it broken down into proportionality.
Sure.
This is why, for the legality of the action. That's number one. Number two, Europe is looking at us like we're crazy. The entire point of NATO being created was to literally stop nuclear weapons from being used, particularly between the Soviet Union and the rest of them. Because guess what? France has nuclear weapons. The UK has nuclear weapons. We don't talk about them because it's never been in their calculus to think that that is a true option. Never. We now are the first ones to bring this to the table from a Western point of view. To imply that is saying, wow, your conventional forces must really suck. You can't do the job. And so now people are talking about tactical nukes. Okay, first of all, there's no such thing as tactical nukes.
Yeah, I was going to say, what does that even mean exactly?
Tactical nukes are basically nukes that have what they call a small radius of impact and fallout. And literally in the 60s, we had nukes that you could shoulder launch, right? And then it would go into, say, downtown Atlanta and take out all of downtown, basically, off your shoulder. It's insanity. The fallout, everything is just smaller, but it still wipes off. Oh yeah, you should Google that. It's crazy.
Oh my God.
And the fact that we're even bringing this up because yo ass did not plan, did not think, did not wonder what would happen if we did this. That's a you problem. And that's what the world is saying. So he's mad in that last press conference about how NATO has abandoned him. NATO didn't ask for this. You didn't go to NATO. You didn't go to South Korea. You didn't go to Australia. These are countries he called out by name, right? And now he wants everybody to absorb the fallout from it. It's insanity.